For one split second, the basketball world froze. Caitlin Clark pulled up from the logo and drained it, right in front of Breanna Stewart. The reaction? Not outrage, not disbelief, just a smile. One of the greatest players the WNBA has ever seen shook her head and grinned, like even she couldn't deny what had just happened. And neither could the rest of us. That one shot exploded online. Over 786,000 views in hours. LeBron James tweeted about it. ESPN replayed it nonstop. For a brief moment, everyone, from NBA legends to casual fans, was talking about one name, Caitlin Clark. But it wasn't just the distance of that three. It wasn't just the reaction. It was something deeper. A statement, a warning shot to the rest of the league. Because when Clark drilled that logo three over a two-time MVP, while coming off an injury against the undefeated New York Liberty, it wasn't just a highlight. It was the start of something bigger, something that might change the balance of power in the WNBA. And if you think that was just another flashy play from a hot shooter, you haven't been paying attention. Let's break down exactly what happened and why it sent shockwaves through the entire sport. It started with a moment that didn't even seem real. Caitlin Clark was directing traffic at the top of the arc, dribbling casually between her legs like it was just another possession. But then she stepped back, way back, and launched from the logo, over Breanna Stewart. Nothing but net. The crowd didn't just cheer, they exploded. You could feel the arena shake. But what stood out even more than the shot was the reaction from Stewart, a two-time MVP, Olympic gold medalist, and one of the most composed athletes in the game. She didn't yell. She didn't get mad. She just smiled and shook her head like she had just seen something absurd, something she couldn't even argue with. And that's what made the clip go viral. It wasn't just Caitlin hitting from the logo. She's done that before. It was the silent acknowledgement from a legend that made it different. Stewart wasn't humiliated. She was impressed. The look on her face said everything. This girl is for real. That smile? That was respect. And for Clark to pull off that kind of shot in that moment against that opponent made it clear this wasn't just hype. This was her arrival. That logo 3 wasn't just a highlight. It was a message. Caitlin Clark didn't take that shot because she was feeling lucky. She took it because she knew she could make it. She took it with confidence, with purpose, and with swagger. And she did it in the face of the league's toughest competition. Let's not forget, the New York Liberty were undefeated. The Indiana Fever, still trying to figure things out. Add to that the fact that Clark was just coming back from an injury, and the pressure was off the charts. But none of that mattered. She didn't ease back into the game. She walked onto the court and immediately took control. That deep three wasn't about points. It was about presence. It told the Liberty, the league, and anyone watching, I'm not backing down. And what made it even more powerful was who she did it against. Breanna Stewart isn't just any player. She's a measuring stick, a gold standard, and for her to be the one standing there, stunned, as Clark buried that shot, it meant something. You could feel it shift. That moment, that one play, flipped the energy in the entire building. Stewart's reaction wasn't just surprise, it was respect, the kind you can't fake. And Caitlin Clark had just earned it on one of the biggest stages in the sport. That shot lit the match, but what followed was a wildfire. Caitlin Clark didn't just knock down one big shot and call it a night. She took over the game. In the first quarter alone, she drained 3 three-pointers in just 38 seconds. Think about that. 38 seconds, 9 points, and total momentum shift. The Liberty didn't know what hit them. The crowd wasn't just cheering. They were roaring like it was a playoff game. And the impact didn't stop at Clark's stat line. The entire Indiana Fever squad suddenly looked different. They moved sharper, played faster, fought harder. This wasn't the team that had been getting blown out just weeks before. This was a team on a mission, and Clark was leading the charge. You could see her energy spreading like electricity. Players were cutting with more purpose. The defense tightened. The ball moved quicker. It was as if one logo shot flipped a switch in every player wearing a Fever jersey. They weren't playing scared. They weren't playing catch-up. They were in control. By halftime, it was clear this wasn't going to be a close game. It was going to be a statement. The Fever weren't just competing with the league's best, they were dominating them. And Caitlin Clark was the reason why. She didn't just bring her shot back with her return, she brought a whole new mindset. By the time Caitlin Clark's logo 3 had finished echoing through the arena, the internet had already exploded. The clip hit social media like a lightning bolt. Over 786,000 views in just hours. And that was only the beginning. LeBron James, one of the biggest names in all of basketball, jumped on X and tweeted, "The CC effect. Welcome back." you were missed. That wasn't just support. That was a torch-passing moment, when the greatest player of this generation pauses to show love. The whole world pays attention. ESPN couldn't get enough. The clip aired on repeat. Bleacher Report blasted it to their followers. Fans were slicing it up, adding slow motion, reactions, commentary. It was everywhere, and it was undeniable. But this wasn't about a single highlight going viral. It was about what that moment represented. For many, Caitlin Clark became the NBA's Steph Curry. That same electric energy, that same limitless range, that same sense of she could pull up from anywhere, at any time. Even Liberty coach Sandy Brondello, yes, the opposing coach, was caught clapping after Clark's third logo three. You don't see that often, and you definitely don't see it when a player is torching your team. That's the kind of moment that crosses team lines. It's respect from every angle. Clark wasn't just back, she was bigger than ever. And for once, the spotlight didn't feel forced. It felt earned. While Caitlin Clark lit the spark, what followed was a full-on wildfire. And the entire Indiana Fever roster helped fuel the flames. This wasn't just a one-woman show. For the first time all season, the Fever played like a team on a mission, and nearly everyone had a breakout moment. Kelsey Mitchell, quiet early on, suddenly flipped a switch. She started the game cold, bricking shots, disappearing in the offense. But when it mattered most, she came alive. Mitchell nailed a crucial three that flipped the momentum again and never looked back. She sliced through the Liberty defense like a veteran floor general and ended the night with 22 points. But it wasn't just the total, it was the timing. Every shot came when the Fever needed it most. When the Liberty looked ready to surge, Mitchell answered. And then there was Sydney Colson, maybe the most underrated impact player of the game. Coming off the bench, Colson put up 10 points, dished out 6 assists, and made every hustle play count. She didn't just show up, she set the tone. Drawing fouls, diving for loose balls, finding open shooters. She brought energy that the Liberty simply couldn't match. Lexi Hull deserves her flowers too. 3 out of 4 from beyond the arc. 14 points on the night. Sure, she missed a couple of easy layups, but she never checked out. She stayed locked in. And every time New York tried to leave her open, she made them pay. It was like Caitlin Clark injected this team with belief, confidence, swagger, and for the first time all season, the Fever didn't look like they were just surviving. They looked like they were thriving. This was no longer just about Caitlin Clark's comeback. This was a team putting the entire league on notice. The Indiana Fever didn't just win, they rewrote the record books. By the end of the night, the scoreboard didn't just show a blowout, it showed history. 17 made three-pointers. That's a new franchise record. And it wasn't just volume, it was efficiency. The Fever shot a blistering 48% from deep. Meanwhile, the Liberty, just 20%. Let that sink in. The supposed powerhouse of the league got run off the court by a team that was firing on all cylinders, with nearly everyone cashing in from beyond the arc. This wasn't luck. It wasn't just a hot hand. It was a game plan, executed perfectly. Spread the floor, keep the ball moving, let everyone shoot with confidence. And once the threes started falling, there was nothing New York could do. They couldn't close out fast enough. They couldn't rotate in time. They couldn't stop the bleeding. And the Fever, they smelled blood. What made it so devastating was that the damage came from everywhere. Caitlin Clark hit her logo bombs. Mitchell broke double teams and pulled up in rhythm. Hull spotted up and nailed corner threes. Even the bench stepped up. Every time the Liberty thought they had to stop, bang, another triple. This kind of performance doesn't just boost the standings, it rattles the league. It forces every future opponent to reevaluate their game plan. Because when a team has that many shooters and the confidence to let it fly from anywhere, they're no longer underdogs. They're dangerous. This wasn't just a big win. It felt like a moment where everything changed. The New York Liberty came in undefeated, loaded with experience, hype, and expectations. The Indiana Fever? They were still trying to find their rhythm, still dealing with the pressures of building around a young superstar. But by the end of the night, none of that mattered. Because Caitlin Clark and the Fever didn't just beat the Liberty, they controlled them. Possession after possession, shot after shot. It was as if the power dynamics in the league had been quietly flipped. And the most telling part, the Liberty knew it. You could see it in their body language, the frustration, the disbelief, the moment slipping through their hands. It's like there's now two versions of the Indiana Fever. BC before Caitlin and AC after Caitlin. Her presence on the court doesn't just boost the box score, it shifts the energy. She makes her teammates better. She raises the standard, and she forces the other team to adjust, whether they want to or not. The WNBA has long waited for a face of the future. Someone who could fill arenas, break highlights, and turn casual viewers into die-hard fans. Now, that player has a name: Caitlin Clark. This wasn't just a fluke win over a distracted Liberty squad. This was a shot across the bow, a warning to every other team in the league. We're not here to lose anymore. And maybe, just maybe, the NBA's next era is already here. Caitlin Clark didn't just return to the court. She announced her return. And she did it with the kind of performance that stops everything else and forces the basketball world to watch. That logo 3 over Breanna Stewart wasn't just a bucket. It was a message. It said, "I'm back, I'm ready, and I'm not here to play small." But what followed was even louder than the shot. It was the energy, the poise, the way the entire Indiana Fever transformed with Clark at the helm. For the first time in a long time, the Fever weren't trying to hang on. They were dictating the pace, outshooting, outworking, outshining the best team in the league. And the reaction? LeBron James, coaches, analysts, and even opposing players like Sabrina Ionescu and Breanna Stewart couldn't ignore it. They didn't try to downplay it. They respected it. That's when you know something has shifted. This wasn't just Caitlin Clark's comeback. It was a reminder of why the hype exists in the first place. And if this performance is any sign of what's to come, the rest of the WNBA needs to brace itself, because this league may not belong to the veterans for much longer. Clark and the Fever just made it clear. They're not waiting for their turn. They're taking it now. So here's the real question. Is this just the beginning of a new dynasty? Or did Caitlin Clark just rewrite the future of the WNBA in one night? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And if you haven't already, hit subscribe, because if you thought this game was wild, wait until you see what happens next.